G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews. If you can hear some noise in the background, it's rain because it's spring and the weather has really upset my attempts to get this review out. What am I reviewing today? Bing! If you didn't know from the thumbnail, there it is. What can I see? Yes, it is the AR Wing Fun, Fly and Fly and Fun and FPV. And here's a good look at the box so you know what it came in. Enough of that. Here is the model. Ooh, if I can reach right around without dislocating my shoulder. Here is the model. Ta-da! Look at that. Woo! Now, this model came from GearBest. They provided this for review. Thank you, GearBest. As usual, I say if a company supports RC Model Reviews, please consider supporting that company so that we get more products for review and you get to know what's good and what's not, what's good and what's crap. Now, this is my build. First of all, let's start at the beginning. It came in a double boxed package, which is really good because I know from some of the Chinese vendors I've got stuff that's been pretty banged up. It's been banged real good, you might say. But this one came in a box, double boxed, really, really good. And the components itself, really so simple. There's no glue. You do not need glue for this model. Everything just sort of screws together. So I screwed it together, and this is what I came up with. Now there you go. Now see, I've got a pagoda antenna on here. Looks kind of good. Looks a bit like the Jetsons, doesn't it? I mean, I like the way that antenna looks on this model. And I'll just show you inside. Ta-da! So much room inside here. It was a joy to put this together. Apart from one little thing. Which wing is it? See this wing here? See, can you see the bow in that wing? Hopefully the camera's focusing. It's got a hell of a bow in it. The other one, she's just fine and dandy. That's straight, that's bowed. Why? I mean, the box wasn't damaged. Everything is really well packed inside the box. So what's going on there? I don't know. Maybe it was a bad run out of the mold. Maybe the carbon rod wasn't put in properly because it's got a piece of carbon strip runs all the way down there. It still flies, but I do notice some trim changes under power. It tends to want to turn with more power. So I think it's this warpy wing thing, but it's actually really stiff. It's not a wibbly wobbly wing, which is great. Now, it comes with a 2204 motor. This is the plug and fly version, so it came with the motor. 2204, that's pretty wimpy, but it's adequate. It's adequate. I put my antennas at the back here like this. I'm still keep saying I need to do a video on how to install 2.4 gig radio gear, and I will do that soon, I promise. But there we go. I've got the RC antennas there, using a D4R2 in this, and I've got my FPV antenna here, and I've mounted my FPV transmitter underneath, see? It's a piece of cake. It was really, really simple. And I've got a 1.84 cell in here. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. And I've got the Runcam Eagle Pro, I think it is, the latest Runcam Eagle in here, which works really well. Separate review on that coming shortly, but I wanted to give it a really good try before I reviewed it. And I'm liking this camera. It's really working out well for me. Beautiful camera. So as a separate review. But there you go. That's the model. Now, of course, it has this detachable front. Magnets, hasn't come off yet. You can put in a regular GoPro configuration HD recording camera in there, or a session configuration. Comes with several different front plates to represent each type of camera. So you're not going to be short of places to put your camera. And one thing I've noticed is, let me take the top off again. So look, it's got a little handle. How good is that? How many times you have to pick and claw at a catch to get it off? This is really good. You notice that this balances perfectly at the moment. It's actually a little nose heavy without any HD camera in here. So I'm thinking, yeah, what if you put a GoPro in it? It's going to be horribly nose heavy. But they've thought of that anyway, because see this try and do this without killing myself. Here you go. See this plywood plate here? That plate has a place for the battery strap to go this way or across way. So you can actually turn your battery around, move it more aft when you've got a HD recording camera in to get the CG right. That is clever thinking. That's good engineering. I'm kind of impressed with that. They have thought of things like that. So there you go. As I say, from box to ready to fly took me probably about 15 minutes, which is pretty good. So if you're looking for a quick model, something you can just take out of the box and get flying really quickly, this will probably do you very nicely. Now, I've been trying to find a day to test fly this thing because it's spring weather. As I said, it's raining outside, bucketing down. I did find a brief break in the weather, and I went out. Rod was on camera, so my apologies for that. But this is how the test flight went. Okay, we're here going to give the Sonic Wing a test. A maiden flight or so, and see what happens. Line of sight. I've got the FPV recording as well, so we'll see what happens. Use a little bit of left trim. Especially the QX7, I noticed the trim button is further over. It's a bit of a trap for young players. Okay, it's very loud, but it's not exactly super fast, but it is quite predictable. Well, it needs a lot of... The trim changes a lot with power setting. It's got a pronounced turn to the right on low power. Mind you, this has got a warped wing, so that's probably part of the problem. The warp in the wing is actually showing up in the way it handles it, different power settings. Hopefully that's not a common thing, just peculiar to mine, probably reviewer's curse. Yeah, it's getting a bit of turbulence around here now, so it's getting bumped around a bit. But the low speed handling seems quite nice. Doesn't seem to have any vices. Hasn't dropped a wing. Wobbly, as most wings are. So let's see what the vertical is like. Bring it back and we'll do a vertical. No rudder, it's always a problem without a rudder. Can sustaining vertical. Okay, let's just see what it glides like with no power on at all. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. I wouldn't complain about that. It's a really nice handling wing. I think it's probably, it feels a little more sedate than the Shadow. And I like the fact that it's got a better CG without having to put weight in the nose. It is actually requiring a bit of backstick on the glide as compared to power. So all in all, let's just see if it will stall. It's always important to know what happens when something like this stalls. So we'll just slow it right down on the glide. We're just hauling some up, hauling up, hauling up, hauling up. More up, more up, more up. Full up now. Is it going to drop a wing? No, it's just mushed. That's full up elevator. And it's just mushed, so that's kind of good. Very docile. Excellent for beginners. And now I'll come around and the wind's coming slightly, so we'll do a landing approach from the other end. Because the wind's coming slightly quarter to the runway. See if it'll land without me breaking it. There's no brake on the ESC. It's a mini quad, or it's a quadcopter ESC, so there's no brake on it, so it makes it, it means that it won't glide as well as if you had a brake on there. Beautiful. There we go. Now, as you can see straight out of the launch, it only required a little bit of up trim just to get it flying smoothly. A little bit of, I think it was left trim as well, because I wanted to turn a bit. And yeah, no, it flew around. It immediately gave me enough confidence to do some really good low, close flying at relatively low speed. And as you'll see a little bit later, I did a stall test and it didn't stall, it just mushes. So I have to say that from the point of view, if you're a beginner, or if you want to get a wing, the first wing you want to get, this is probably not a bad option because it is extremely easy to fly. It has very predictable flight characteristics. It's not that fast, which is a good thing. If it's your first wing, you don't really want it too fast because you can get a bit behind yourself there. And it just flies so nicely. Of all the wings I've tested so far, this is probably the most docile and easy to fly. And I think that's important. It's important if it's your first wing because, you know, sometimes wings take a little bit of getting used to sometimes because you've got no rudder for a start. But I did an FPV flight, and the FPV flight, nothing really to report. It just flew, and it looked actually from the ground like it had a bit of wobble on, but from the FPV camera, it didn't look too bad. Now, I had the Runcam Eagle in 4.3, and you could see a bit of the side of the nose there, just on the left. But I'll try it in the 16.9 perspective. You probably get a lot more of that side of the nose in there. Next flight I do, I will put it in 16.9, but they'll have to wait till the rain stops. Now here is the stall test. I slowed it down, just basically took the throttle off and held on full up elevator, and all it did was just enter a bit of a mush and start descending. Fantastic, didn't drop a wing, didn't go into a flat spin, didn't do anything untowards. As for landings, so easy. What could be easier than landing? The only thing I did notice with this particular model was that when I went to do inverted, even with full down elevator, it was still coming down. So I think although the CG marks are clearly shown on the wing, I think that it's actually, you could probably move the CG back a bit if you wanted to do aerobatics a little bit better, or maybe just up the throws. I've got quite a bit of throw on here. People had told me these were quite sensitive, but I found it to be quite sedate in terms of its control response. So I may up the throws a little and see how we get on. Right, so in summary, if you're looking for a wing that's got a lot of space in there, you can put a flight controller in there, you can put all sorts of different size batteries, you have so much room to move in this thing that it's ridiculous. You can, if you've got a cat, you can swing it in there if you want to, but the SPCA will come down on you like a ton of bricks if you do, but there is room to do it if you want to. So I'd say, yeah, if you're looking for something and you want to, something perhaps even to test out stuff like iNav or something, if you're getting into that, this would make a pretty good platform because you've just got all the room in the world to move in there. You're not going to be squeezed for space. It's fantastic. I'm going to do some more flights endurance-wise, see how it goes as an endurance wing, because it should be relatively efficient. And then, of course, I'm going to change this motor out. I'm going to put in something decent, a decent grunty motor, and see how it handles stress under load, because this wing is pretty stiff. I think it's going to work a lot better than an FPV 900 wing that was all wibbly-wobbly and fluttered. I think this will hold up to speed pretty well. Bit of a blunt nose, but that's probably not going to be too much of an impediment. And I do have the other Sonic FPV model, the fast one, which I'll be testing hopefully next week. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, yeah, if you're looking for something that's going to be a really nice little FPV machine, really nice first wing, something docile, predictable, looks pretty robust, it's pretty high density EPP. It's not going to break that easily. Although if you saw my Shadow, Shadow 800, the crash I had there ripped the wing apart. Doesn't matter how thick the foam is, if you hit something fast enough, it will break. So there you go, as I say, provided for review by GearBest. Please follow the product link in the description. Now, I'm not a member of an affiliate scheme, but I have a special link so they can basically track and see how many people went from this review to their website as a result of this review. And if a lot of people go, then they'll be more inclined to say, well, hey, review this, and then you'll know whether you get stuff that's good, like this, or stuff that's crap, like the Wizard. There you go. Thanks for watching. Now, questions, comments, usual place, please. I'll do my best to answer them. Honestly, it is really so difficult to get flight tests done at this time of the year. This weather is just driving me nuts. Finally, it's warmed up. T-shirt, see, remember? T-shirt. If you want to see your T-shirt on my manly chest, woo, look at that, then you can send me a T-shirt. I take a large at the moment. I may take a medium by the end of the summer if my diet works out. I take a large and I'll wear it on RC Model Reviews, and your message will get across to many people. I've worn this one before, which is why I'm not showing it off too much, but yeah, send me the T-shirt. Also, headwear. Oh man, I'll show you in my weekly news. I'll show you some of the headgear that I got recently. Bonza. I do prefer broad-brimmed hats to caps because otherwise my ears get sunburnt, and but then again, if I'm flying FPV, a cap is more convenient than a broad-brimmed hat. I just thought, actually, no, another video. It's just sort of a brilliant money-making, potentially very saleable item for FPV flies, but I'll tell you about that later. Anyway, that is the AR wing. Ta-da, this one from GearBest. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.